Here's a piece. Was that corny? I don't know. No, it's not like Rogan, but like yes, it is a podcast, yeah. Steve Bannon. The quick comparison is to Michael Shannon. They look similar and their names rhyme, but the better comparison is to Michael Shannon's portrayal of General Zod, Superman's enemy in the film Man of Steel. They both have a military background, and General Zod is pretty frightening. And then Steve Bannon, he wears this one olive cargo jacket a frightening amount of times, so... You might know him for his role as the former chief strategist for President Trump. Bannon made headlines recently for allegedly defrauding hundreds of thousands of donors of the nonprofit We Build the Wall. Now, there are a lot of moving parts to everything I just said. So first off, who's Steve Bannon? Well, Steve Bannon first served in the Navy before working in investment banking at Goldman Sachs. Then he made the extremely predictable and I think obvious career path choice and started producing a number of direct-to-DVD films, one of which was called The Chaos Experiment. I'm not going to give my description of the movie because the description that is literally on the back of the DVD is absolutely fantastic, and I quote, "A disgraced and deranged scientist, Val Kilmer, traps 6 sexy strangers into a hotel steam bath and slowly turns up the heat. However, it doesn't take long for the fear and paranoia to boil over, leaving a bloody trail in its wake." Now, I haven't actually seen the film, so I'm not entirely sure this isn't a porno. And honestly, I don't want to find out, especially after reading this review on Rotten Tomatoes by Shane G. And again, I quote, "You see the boobies, but it's not worth it. They're nice, but the movie is awful. One of the worst movies I've ever seen." Okay, so first off, how eloquent. Second, that's way too close to a haiku, if I may. You see the boobies. They're nice, but it's not worth it. The movie is bad. After making a shitty horror film about global warming, he did what any of us would have done in that position and started working for a media outlet where he could string together similar narratives without having to flash anyone's tits. In 2012, he became the executive chairman for Breitbart News, a site that, according to Time, has pushed racist, sexist, xenophobic, and anti-Semitic material into the vein of the alt-right, Bannon himself claiming that his site was a platform for the alt-right. But it's when the widely popular conservative political commentator Ben Shapiro, former editor at Breitbart, described Bannon as a bully and a sellout that makes Bannon's move to the Trump administration and cabinet all but a shock. He wasn't there for long, but made his mark working his way up to chief strategist and played a key role in Trump's immigration ban, aka the Muslim ban. Before his time with the president ended, not only was he granted a seat at the National Security Council over specific military chiefs of staff, but according to an ex-Trump aide, he had the president referring to him as "my Steve," which, when coming from a 3-year-old referring to their stuffed animal, is pretty cute. But when coming from the leader of the free world to someone who wears an olive green cargo jacket an unreasonable amount of times, it's pretty fucking creepy. It's kind of funny too, actually. I wish it was Stevie. That would be it. If it was, "Where's my Stevie?" Oh, I would love that. Then kind of like close friends who start getting romantically involved but then break up, their relationship has since gone sour. Trump is now referring to him as Sloppy Steve. More recently, Bannon was brought on to We Build the Wall by the founder Brian Kolfage. The nonprofit is focused on building certain sections of the U.S.-Mexico wall through private donations. The nonprofit assured donors that 100% of the funds raised will be used in the execution of their mission and purpose because they're a volunteer organization. Which is where Sloppy Steve, along with Brian Kolfage and others, slipped up. They have been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering, having allegedly used funds from We Build the Wall in a way inconsistent with the organization's public representations. Something punishable with up to 20 years in prison. Kolfage was said to have taken over $350,000 for personal expenses, while Bannon took over $1 million. As stated by the U.S. Attorney's Office, not only did they lie to their donors, but they also schemed to hide their misappropriation of funds by creating sham invoices and accounts to launder donations and cover up crimes, which really is no different than General Zod saying he's going to use the terraforming device to change the atmosphere on Earth to make it more habitable for Kryptonians, but instead using it to power his own village in Animal Crossing while laundering all activity through other accounts labeled with other planets. The whole campaign was originally being run on GoFundMe before GoFundMe expressed concern to Colfage in regards to potential fraudulent behavior. And if the top dog in the fundraising game reaching out to the founder of a certain fundraiser expressing that there might be some fraudulent behavior isn't a red flag to you, maybe this clip from We Build the Wall's Wallathon is.
And now, here are your hosts, Stephen K. Bannon and Brian Colfage.
Welcome back. This is Stephen K. Bannon. We're off the coast of Saint-Tropez in southern France in the Mediterranean. We're on the $1 million yacht of Brian Colfage. And Brian Colfage, he took all that money from Build the Wall. No, we're actually in Sunland Park, New Mexico.
Holy shit. That's hilarious. And yeah, they might be joking, but I've seen that strategy before. It's the same strategy a pot-smoking teen uses when talking with their parents. Usually it goes something like this. Yeah, Mom and Dad, I smoke weed. Yeah, I smoke weed with Colby, that one friend who you've never met. We smoke bong. Is that what it? We smoke the bong? We smoke bong. Come on. Bannon is since out on bail, leaving us all to wonder what he wanted to do with the money. And sure, there's obvious answers. Personal expenses, maybe some debts. But I prefer to think that he had a very specific plan in mind. A specific plan to produce another film starring the Scandinavian John Travolta that is Val Kilmer. A sequel to the Chaos Experiment so bad that it brings a Shane G out to write another beautifully worded, almost haiku of a review. No, it's not like Rogan, but yes, it is a podcast, yeah.